सुनने वालों को सिराज ज़ैदी का बहुत बहुत प्यार भरा आदाब, नमस्कार and good afternoon. Welcome to Apna Radio, broadcasting at 93.9 Dublin South FM. Each Thursday from 3 to 4, I'm here broadcasting from the studio to the world. Tune me in. सुनने वालों को सिराज ज़ैदी का बहुत बहुत आदाब, नमस्कार एंड गुड आफ्टरनून. प्यार भरा आदाब, प्यार भरा नमस्कार and प्यार भरा good afternoon. You're very welcome to the program. You are listening to Apna Radio, broadcasting at 93.9 Dublin South FM. Every Thursday, I'm here until 4 o'clock and local time. German time, 4 o'clock, I think it is. Yeah, 1 hour ahead. And indeed, because a lot of listeners in Germany, and particularly in Berlin, and then also in UK, and of course in India. India time is 7:30 because we have moved 1 hour forward. So there you go, backward actually. In the summertime, the clock goes backward. So anyway, you'll be here until 4 o'clock. I shall be here until 4 o'clock. Lots of things to talk about it. Charmaine is not in today because she is on holiday. Lucky Charmaine at the Tenerife. I think she's in Tenerife, and not in Tenerife, Spain, somewhere in Spain, with her mom and with her brother, which is wonderful. A family holiday. It's a family holiday. It's an Easter time, so happy Easter, those who are listening, and indeed those who are joining me from Far East in India, Middle East, and Dubai, and all those places, exotic places that people are beginning to listen to me all around the world. Happy good afternoon and happy, welcome to the program. So without further ado, we have a news from Sharad Awasthi, and Sharad will take away the news, and we will let you know what's going on in the Indian world.
This is Apna Radio 93.9 Dublin South FM, and I am Sharad Awasthi. The turmoil in the latest Trump tariff trade war continues. The market is in turmoil, but Donald Trump continues to defy and is imposing sweeping tariffs across dozens of US trading partners, which has come into effect on Wednesday. This includes 104% levy on China, and that is expected to slash trade between the world's two largest economies. India's response has been subtle and not reactionary. Commerce and Industry Minister 𝐭𝐲𝐬 𝐺𝐭𝐬 held a meeting with exporters on Wednesday to discuss issues pertaining to India's trade amid imposition of an additional 26% reciprocal tariff by US President Donald Trump. There are new troubles for India as Trump will impose new tariffs on pharmaceutical imports from India. Continuing his economic onslaught, President Trump said on Tuesday that Washington is planning to announce a major tariff on pharmaceutical imports. India's pharmaceutical sector, one of the most dependent domestic industries on trade with America, could be significantly impacted by this move. Speaking at an event, the president said that the tariff will incentivize drug companies to move their operations to the US. Previously, the Trump administration had kept pharmaceuticals and semiconductors away from the ambit of its reciprocal tariff policy. America is India's largest export market for pharmaceutical goods. In financial year 2024, $27.9 billion worth of pharma exports were 31% to the US. This is according to Pharmaceutical Export Promotion Council of India. According to the council, India supplies over 45% of generic and 15% of biosimilar drugs used in the US. The firms like Dr. Reddy's Lab, Aurobindo Pharma, Zydus Life Sciences, Sun Pharma, Glen Pharma, reportedly earn anywhere between 30 to 50% of their total revenues from the American market. It is understood that America depends on low-cost generic drugs manufactured in India, and higher tariffs could lead to price hikes, inflation, and drug shortages in the United States. Meanwhile, Indian companies operating on thin margins in the US generic space may struggle to absorb cost and end up passing the cost to the US consumers and the insurers. The Reserve Bank of India governor noted that financial year's anxious start for the global economy is watching inflation risk from the global uncertainties after US tariff on the Indian export. According to him, the dent on global growth due to trade frictions will impede domestic growth. Higher tariffs may have an impact on the net exports. He stated that quantifying the impact of global development on growth is challenging. However, the central bank is confident in managing domestic growth. According to him, the agriculture sector remains bright and manufacturing activity is showing signs of revival. The RBI governor stated that Monetary Policy Committee noted inflation is below target due to sharp drop in food prices. India's regional geopolitical concerns continue, both in defense and financial sector. Prime Minister Narendra Modi completed a 2-day visit to Sri Lanka, the first by foreign leader since President Anura Kumara Dissanayake took office in Sri Lanka. The key outcomes included agreements to enhance defense and energy cooperation. The leader also inaugurated an Indian-funded solar power plant, which is supposedly funded by Adani Group. The discussions with the Sri Lankan president covered regional security concerns, including China's influence. India reiterated its commitment to Sri Lanka's stability and economic recovery through its neighborhood first policy. The Sri Lankan president stated that Sri Lanka's territory would not be used for actions harmful to India's security. Keeping up with the defense concern, India is to sign rupees 63,000 crore deal for 26 Rafale marine aircrafts. The Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman is in London to start a 6-day European tour. She will have stop in London and Austria. She will join the 13th India-UK Economic and Financial Dialogue with Chancellor Rachel Reeves. She is not visiting Ireland. In the US, the administration is revoking student visas overnight. It is impacting international students, including those from India. All the international students in US are facing a myriad of challenges that can lead to revocation of their student visas. The F1 visa, which allows foreign students to study full-time at certified school, comes with a set of strict conditions that must be met to maintain compliance. Few examples of strict conditions are poor academic performance or disciplinary reasons, even changes in the course format, such as transitioning to part-time, hybrid or online courses, can impact visa status. If the students are working for sanctioned organizations, even though as interns, especially in areas as research, defense, foreign funding, that can also affect student visa status. If the students fail to demonstrate financial capabilities to fund education, it can lead to visa revocation. Just showing the initial proof was not enough. The tough rules, like not updating residential or mailing address within 10 days of change of address, can revoke the student visa. If the US security or intelligence agencies identify a risk, they can result in immediately visa revocation even before court proceedings. There are other reasons for visa revocations for trivial violations like minor infractions as traffic violations. In some cases, infraction occurred years ago and students were not provided prior notice before revocation. The administration has also been targeting students involved in pro-Palestinian activism, citing potential adverse foreign policy consequences. Indian student Rajini Srinivasan, she was 37-year-old PhD student at US Columbia University, and she self-deported to Canada after her student visa was revoked for allegedly supporting pro-Palestinian cause. Similarly, a noted example is Rumaisa Öztürk, a Turkish graduate student at Tufts University, who was detained and faced deportation after her visa was annulled due to alleged support for Hamas through pro-Palestinian protests. The authorities are reportedly using artificial intelligence programs to monitor social media for content deemed supportive for organizations like Hamas. This approach raises privacy alarms and risks misinterpretation of online activities. There are country-specific policies. For example, South Sudanese student, including Duke University's basketball star Khamam Maluch, faced deportation under new directive because South Sudan failed to accept repatriated citizens. Back home, the Supreme Court termed Tamil Nadu Governor R.N. Ravi's conduct as unconstitutional. The court criticized his inaction on 10 crucial bills for months together before referring them to the President of India after they were repassed by the state legislature. His conduct has come under judicial spotlight. In the significant move, the court fixed time limits of 1 to 3 months for the governors to take a call on bills. It also fixed time limits of 1 to 3 months for governors to take action on future bills. The court said that governor must be friend, guide and philosopher to the state, not a hindrance. Not many times it has happened. The Supreme Court invoked its inherent powers under Article 142 of the Indian Constitution to deem the 10 Tamil Nadu government bills to have received assent. The Indian National Congress is witnessing a massive organizational reshuffle. In this significant move, the party is likely to approve changes including more powers to the district Congress committees and raising quotas for the minorities in all party positions beyond 50%. The National Eligibility Cum Entrance Test, NEET as we know, is under fire. The Tamil Nadu's bill seeking exemption from the mandate of NEET exam is being reviewed by the government of Tamil Nadu. The left parties CPI-M and CPI demanded the hike of the cooking gas be rolled back, and it has accused the government of not passing on the benefit of lower international oil and gas prices to people of India. The Politburo stated that rising gas prices will severely impact people already suffering from inflation. According to them, ever since BJP came to power, LPG prices have seen a constant rise, even during periods when global crude oil prices have remained historically low. The Modi regime has been accused that it has diverted price hike profit to benefit oil companies and private corporates. The amended havoc Act has come into force from 8th April according to the Ministry of Minority Affairs notification. Also, there is a plea against havoc Act, and the centre has filed caveats in the Supreme Court, for which the hearing will be held on 15th April. Over 10 petitions, including those by politicians and All India Muslim Personal Law Board and Jamaat Ulama-e-Hind, were filed in the Supreme Court challenging the validity of the newly enacted law. Microsoft has fired 2 employees who interrupted the company's 50th anniversary celebration. They were protesting against Microsoft's work supplying artificial intelligence technology to the Israeli military. The protest began on Friday when Microsoft software engineer Abu Saad walked up to the stage where an executive was announcing new product features and a long-term vision of Microsoft's AI ambitions. The protester highlighted that 50,000 people have died and Microsoft powers this genocide in the region. The protester shouted that all of Microsoft had blood on their hands. She was escorted out of the event later. A second protester, Microsoft employee from India, Vania Agarwal, interrupted the later part of the event, shouting, "How dare you?" She had already resigned and had 2-week notice, which later Microsoft made her resignation effective immediately. You would recall that an investigation by the Associated Press revealed earlier this year that AI models from Microsoft and OpenAI had been used as part of an Israeli military program to select bombing targets during the recent war in Gaza and Lebanon. Back in India, Priyansh Arya has entered an elite club of players, securing fastest 100 in an IPL. He scored a century in 39 balls to join the elite club of Chris Gales, Yusuf Pathan, David Miller and Travis Head. These top players had scored centuries in 30, 37, 38 and 39 balls respectively. Currently, India has seen rise of many young cricketers who have broken world cricketing records at a frequency not seen before. That's it from me in India this week. Charmaine Colvin will be back next week. Thank you for tuning in to Apna Radio 93.9 Dublin South FM.
Dublin South FM. You wouldn't buy a car without knowing its history. So why would you buy a story without knowing who's telling it? Come here and I tell you. It's not always easy to verify what you see, read, or hear, but now there's help. Visit www.bemediasmart.ie. Stop, think, check. Be Media Smart. Brought to you by Media Literacy Ireland, supported by RTE.
93.9 Dublin South FM.
Indeed. Welcome back to the programme, and that is 93.9 Dublin South FM. Exactly. We're broadcasting at 93.9 from the Dundrum Town Centre every Thursday at 4 o'clock. So the world is not looking at all a rosy picture, because what is happening, doom and gloom, is emerging worldwide. And who is actually behind creating this doom and gloom are the culprit. Who is the culprit? One and only one individual, and the nation. We'll talk about that in the programme today, because I'm in the mood to deep dive into the actual individual like Donald Trump. It is absolutely okay to talk about his character, his personality, and his early days in the building of his empire as a dodgy developer, property developer, who built his empire without, the scrupulous behavior, not paying to the workers, not, the sort of like likes of tradesmen who would do the woodwork, who would do the bricklayers and all those people. And it's all documented. It's available on the cybernet if you are interested in digging deep into this despicable character. So the personality, compare yourself, who you are. You're a respectable and an average individual. Try to actually educate himself or herself. Try to create a job or to get a job, an employment in certain establishment. And then perhaps if there is a entrepreneur's, streak in that person, they'll set it up their own business and try to live as a entrepreneur, and do the business, and they become a business person. So there's nothing wrong with that. That's a pattern of existence. This pattern, if you compare yourself or any respectable individual, or if you look at it from the point of view of those who do hard work in terms of academia, and they study postgraduate, graduate, postgraduate, and then they go to masters and PhD and all the rest of it, and they become the professors in universities and started teaching to the world. That's another path. There's so many career paths out there. It depends on what's your liking, what's your inclination, what's you been, channeled into by your parents or by your peers or your career guidance at college and things like that. Now, none of that has happened to this particular individual called Donald Trump. His youth was spent, hanging around with a person like Jeffrey Epstein, and we know who Jeffrey Epstein was, who died a despicable death and a horrible death, and he was a pimp, he was a prostitute pusher, and his company was that, and Donald Trump was, fond of blonde women and prostitutes, and he pays vast sums of money to the prostitutes. Those cases was right in front of your eyes. And then obviously married to some Eastern European lady, and then he has a family as well. But their family, what kind of family it is, now I'll talk about that in a minute. But particularly if you think about it, the characteristic of this individual, who is now at the peak of his career by second term elected as the President of United States of America. Now, United States of America is looked up, and particularly from the Indians and rest of the Eastern world, as a superpower, as a developed world, as a magnificent country and things like that. Not all countries, by the way, admire America, Fintan O'Toole wrote a wonderful, our delectable journalist from the Irish Times, who's retired now. He wrote a wonderful article post 9/11, and he said that all of a sudden we wake up in the morning to realize that America is no longer a great country. Yes, they do believe, that we have free and we are the most richest country in the world. We are the most. The reality of the richest country in the world is that it's trillions of dollars in debt. They have created havoc in the world by creating wars, losing, wars in Afghanistan, in Middle East, in First World War, First Gulf War, Second Gulf War, and contemplating the Third Gulf War. So all of that has obviously consequences and expenses. Wars are not cheap to fight, but they're the one who actually initiated and sustained and then continued and all the rest of it. You know the history. So his friend circle, going back to Donald Trump's personality, his friend circles are not someone you would like your children to be hanging around with and would like to have a company with. So his youth relationship with as I said, with prostitutes and spending time with all sorts of dodgy characters, is just, it's questionable. The other thing is that obviously his allies, his close allies right now are Benjamin Netanyahu. And of course, Benjamin Netanyahu is saying that we will help you to reduce your trillions of debt, in a heavy bass voice that he talks in. How? Perhaps invading Iran and controlling the gas and oil of that country? If that is the mistake you would ever do, perhaps the existence of a country could be wiped out. That's all I can say. If that's you dare to do that. Anyway, that's not a trillions of debt. How are you going to do that? So behaving like an evangelical bull in a china shop out there, wrecking the world trade, is something. Imposing tariffs, which is terrifying the world. Our Prime Minister, Simon Harris, is in the U.S. at the moment as we speak, and shaking hands with the economic director Howard Lutnick, as I coined lunatic in my previous program. I repeat that. Now, the economic director Howard Lutnick is also an interesting character that has become the inner circle of the Donald Trump. Why and how? You go back to 9/11 and see how Howard Lutnick's company, who was in billions of dollars in debt or whatever, reclaimed that all money from the insurance company, and indeed they lost some people of their own company. People they were working in Trade Center. So 9/11, and it's all documented in Claire Byrne's show a couple of days ago, when Claire Byrne has actually an analyst who dug up a very good history on Howard Lutnick, that how this particular character is now the most powerful economic character, who has outlandishly made a statement that Ireland does have a 60 billion surplus and we have trillions in debt, and we're going to get your billions over here, and we'll make you pay for all your surplus. So all of that is a statement that has been made by Howard Lutnick is going to be now negotiated, and he's imposing, obviously, as Sharad has mentioned, the tariff on pharmaceutical products, and of course, 104%, 34 now and 50 now again, as 64% or 50% first in the first instance with China. I think that precipitating the analysis, the war is looming. The trade war is onslaught right now between China and the U.S., but let's hope that if that war translates into a real war, who will win, China or America? That's a big question. But I'm not going to go there right now, but I'm saying that, look, we are in deep trouble because our economy is going to go down. With the result of that, the wealth management company, I was listening this morning, again to a national radio, was talking about it, that, okay, every year or 2 year, the economic cycle go up and down, and we do lose investment, and the stock market goes up and down as well. But this time, this guy, if he doesn't behave, if he doesn't come to his senses, and he should be brought back to his senses by some mechanism, by the Senate or by the government instrument or something, that he should not have that kind of a free power to impose sanctions or to create or declare war. That because those are the two things that is going to create further complication in the world during his tenure. Now, that is something very, very carefully you have to monitor that. And but before that, that's what I have to say about this individual who had a very colorful life, and then now for hook and by crook, he is becoming president second term, and now the way he is behaving is showing his characteristic. So you make up your own mind. You draw your conclusion. What kind of an individual he is? He's not a favorite of any country because he's imposing wars, trade wars on everybody, particularly to here on us in Ireland. Yes, he's friendly with the UK. UK has been very clever in that sense, that has been dodged these kind of thing, because his tussle with Europe is the real one, and imposing trade war on Europe is China. Europe is the main element. So what? Now, what to do? Wait and see, and realize what is going on is not really something that has to be let it go willy-nilly. Anyway, Sharad has got another interesting clip about the governors and the governments. So let's see what he has to say.
When an unelected governor stalls law that are passed by elected assemblies, democracy does not slow down, it suffocates. Democracy, by its very design, rests on a system of checks and balances where elected representatives legislate and an unelected constitutional functionary serve in supportive, facilitative role. However, this federal framework in recent events in India have once again laid bare the frictions between the government and the governor. Particularly, the strained role of governor, an office originally was envisaged as a neutral constitutional authority, but now it has increasingly seen as a political instrument. The Supreme Court of India, in a scathing indictment of Tamil Nadu Governor R.N. Ravi, recently it has drew attention to one such erosion. So in Tamil Nadu, the governor had withheld action on 10 key bills passed by state legislature. And it was not for weeks or for months, it was for years together. And that too without offering constitutionally mandated reasons. This deliberate delay, as we can see, and the eventual referral of these bills to the president, that too immediately after they were repassed in the assembly, occurred only after the matter came under judicial scrutiny. And as a big picture, it marks a big question mark on the spirit of representative governance. At the heart of this issue lies Article 200 of the Indian Constitution, which empowers governors to assent, withhold assent, or reserve bills for presidential consideration. Article 200 mandates that this decision be taken as soon as possible. The framers of the Constitution, our founding fathers, they were wary of the autocratic tendencies included in this clause to ensure that governors should not function as a political roadblock. So they had already foreseen what we are doing today, the problems of today. Yet, the conduct of Tamil Nadu governor represents what Supreme Court describes as a pocket veto, an indefinite, silent, and unaccountable hold on the will of the people of the state. The Supreme Court's intervention was historic, not merely in its substance, but in its tone also. Justice J.B. Pardiwala and R. Madhavan went beyond legal interpretations to issue a principled critique of Tamil Nadu's governor's role. The Supreme Court described the governor's conduct as erroneous in law, arbitrary, and no nest. In other words, constitutionally void. This is an unfortunate situation in the federal framework of India. The court asserted that the governors are not sovereigns or monarchs, but constitutional functionaries who must act on the aid and advice of the elected state cabinet. Also, and importantly, the court imposed a judicially enforceable time limit of 1 to 3 months on governors to act on bill. And this is a necessary innovation, as I see it, to prevent misuse of the constitutional post. the governor's decision to withhold assent without explanation and then to refer the bill to the president at the 11th hour, this altogether undermined not just the Tamil Nadu Assembly, but the very idea of legislative sovereignty in a democracy. Worse still, the president compounded the issue by giving assent to one bill, rejecting 7 and ignoring 2 altogether. Now, the Supreme Court invoked its extraordinary power under Article 142 and it rightly deemed all 10 bills as having received assent, symbolically restoring the authority of the state legislature. So there is now a contest between the Supreme Court orders as well as the presidential assent. This episode lays bare a larger systemic concern, the increasing politicization of governors, especially in the opposition-ruled states. These governors are appointed by the union government, and the governors are usually expected to be impartial custodians of the constitution. However, in this case, and in many cases earlier also, they are increasingly behaving like agents of the center and have been accused of stalling progressive legislations in the state, and most of the time, they are not aligned with the ruling party at the state level. There have been umpteen cases like Tamil Nadu, in Kerala, Punjab, West Bengal, Maharashtra, and Delhi. And they all have experienced this democratic subversion in some form or the other, where the laws passed by duly elected state legislatures were kept in limbo, and it was sabotaging the governance and delaying reforms. If you remember, for instance, in Delhi, the Lieutenant Governor had withheld files necessary for then Chief Minister 𝐢𝐭𝐬 𝐾𝐻𝐃 to make a visit, an official visit to Singapore. Additionally, the Lieutenant Governor had raised concerns about the delay in presenting the annual budget in the Delhi Assembly. Not only that, there were delays and interventions in policies like the doorstep ration scheme and the classroom constructions. So when the Delhi government went to the Supreme Court, the court ruled in 2023 that the elected governments must have control over civil supplies except in the matter of police, land and public order, and therefore in its order had curbed Lieutenant Governor of Delhi's overreach. So if you see, the contest between the governor and the government had been in the delay of providing assent to the bills, had been in blocking or delaying administrative functions, accused of acting as political spokesperson, and in many cases, the governors have been publicly criticizing these elected governments, and the governors have been withholding or refusing to convene legislative sessions. So there is a growing conflict between the constitutional head and the elected government, and it reflects clearly a larger crisis of constitutional morality and the neutrality of the governor's office. Most of the time, it is diluting the spirit of cooperative federalism and raises alarm for the health of the Indian democracy. So what is the remedy? As the Supreme Court has given the directives in this recent case of Tamil Nadu, there has to be codification of timelines and procedures for the governor. In this Supreme Court's directive, it imposed 1 to 3 months of timeline for the governors to act on bill under Article 200 of the Constitution. But this court order must be codified into a law or a constitutional amendment for future governments and to prevent any kind of ambiguity. The role of governor is questionable these days and it has to be redefined. The process of appointing the governor, currently what happens is the central government, without the consultation of the state, appoints the governor. Now a bipartisan consultative mechanism has to involve the chief minister and the panel of the state representatives to appoint a neutral and a trustworthy governor. Currently, if there is a complaint against the governors, there is only Supreme Court or a judicial remedy. Instead, a permanent body under the parliament, a bipartisan committee should be formed, and they should be empowered to review the complaints against the governor, especially in cases where there are prima facie breach of constitutional duty. See, we may have so many laws, rules, regulations, but then no legal or institutional mechanism can substitute for the constitutional morality. Political parties, especially those in the power at the center, must resist the temptation to use governor as a partisan agent. For now, the Supreme Court has upheld the spirit of Constitution, and we should be mindful of the intervention of the Supreme Court, challenging the constitutional heads like the governor and the president. This is a dangerous trend in the federal framework of India and the constitutional unity. It is also a reminder that even in a democracy, power without accountability remains a persistent threat. Therefore, howsoever laws and regulations we may have, we have to protect the political culture. Until then, democracy will remain a fragile dream, and too often it will be obstructed by those entrusted with its guardianship. So friends, with those thoughts and concerns, I leave you until next week. Stay safe, stay informed, and dutifully ask questions. Bye for now.
Broadcasting from the Dundrum Town Centre, this is Dublin South FM.
Thank you very much indeed, Sharad, for digging deep into it and diving deep into the position of governors and the government. So what is happening in the government out there is we have been shedding our lights for quite some time, and everything is questionable. And why not? If you don't ask questions, if you don't raise these sort of serious questions, then your democracy is in tatter, should I say? But which we are experiencing anyway in the last good few years. But keep pressure on those people who are in power is something that is our duty, is the duty of the media person and the people, that we pay attention to it, because sometimes draconian laws can actually make these things would look over your eyes and hoodwink you because you're not paying any attention. See, average person is too much concerned with their day-to-day living, job, work, family, that they just carry along and they put up and shut up is the word. But only the people with an intellect, with conscience, with those who do read wide as possible, those who are dabble into the intellectual activities would question something like that. So therefore, it is our duty. Anyway, moving to another bad news, but a good song of that person's departure from the hard to believe that Manoj Kumar, our delectable super actor of Indian film industry, no longer with us. At the age of 87, at a mature age of 87, I suppose he had a very good life. And Manoj Kumar is no longer. He passed away from the industry. And his last writs were being widely circulated on the social media and everything that he has. Who was Manoj Kumar? If you remember in those 70s, 80s, when I grew up watching his film, the 60s, 70s, during particularly in the 70s, in my school days, in my college days, when films were very much around in the cinema, and of course on television and everything. So let's sit back, relax, and enjoy this track, and then I'll talk about Manoj Kumar and his achievement. This is iconic song of Manoj Kumar film, Pura Pachim, that he directed. So he was a writer, actor, producer, and a thinker basically about. He's patriotic. He was patriotic, and his songs were. He was, lovingly dubbed as a Bharat Kumar, not Bharat Kumar, Bharat Kumar, Manoj Kumar ke bajaye. Anyway, so there you go. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this particular track, and I'll talk about it more.
ये बताओ तुम्हें ये क्लब कैसे लगा?
अच्छा है, मगर चाचा जी, आपने तो कहा था कि ये क्लब अपने देश वालों का है. अपनापन तो यहाँ दिखाई नहीं दिया.
My foot. इंडियंस को अपनापन वहीं दिखाई देता है, जहाँ मुरझाए हुए चेहरे और खाली पेट हो.
जी.
और नहीं तो क्या? यहाँ देखो, हर आदमी खुशहाल नजर आता है. न रोटी की फिक्र, न कपड़े का गम, और न घूंघट का झगड़ा. और एक तुम्हारा देश है, मिस्टर. 4 रोटी में से 1 रोटी कर्जे की खाता है तुम्हारा देश.
वो देश आपका भी तो है.
गाली मत दो.
जी.
जो देश दूसरों के रहम और करम पर पल रहा हो, वो देश मेरा नहीं.
मेरा तो है.
होगा. तुम उसे अपना समझते हो जो मदद लेता है. मैं उसे अपना कहता हूं जो मदद देता है. तुम लोग जमीन से पेट भर अनाज नहीं निकाल सके. और लोग चांद तक पहुंच गए। है कोई मुकाबला?
जो चांद पे पहुंचे उनके सामने दुनिया ने सर झुकाया है।
सर झुकाने पर फक्र करते हो? है कोई ऐसी बात तुम्हारे देश की जिस पर के सर ऊंचा कर सको? नहीं माय डियर बॉय, तुम्हारे देश ने कुछ नहीं दिया। इंडियाज कंट्रीब्यूशन इज 0, 0 एंड 0।
जब 0 दिया मेरे भारत ने, भारत ने मेरे भारत ने, दुनिया को तब गिनती आई। तारों की भाषा भारत ने दुनिया को पहले सिखलाई। देता न दशमलव भारत तो यूं चांद पे जाना मुश्किल था। धरती और चांद की दूरी का अंदाजा लगाना मुश्किल था। सभ्यता जहां पहले आई, सभ्यता जहां पहले आई, पहले जन्मी है जहां पे कला। अपना भारत वो भारत है जिसके पीछे संसार चला, संसार चला और आगे बढ़ा। यूं आगे बढ़ा, बढ़ता ही गया। भगवान करे ये और बढ़े, बढ़ता ही रहे और फूले फले, बढ़ता ही रहे और फूले फले।
चुप क्यों हो गए? और सुनाओ।
है प्रीत जहां की रीत सदा, जहां की रीत सदा है, प्रीत जहां की रीत सदा। मैं गीत वहां के गाता हूँ, भारत का रहने वाला हूँ, भारत की बात सुनाता हूँ। है प्रीत जहां की रीत सदा। हमारा नाता है, कुछ और न आता हो हमको, हमें प्यार निभाना आता है। जिसे मान चुकी सारी दुनिया हो, जिसे मान चुकी सारी दुनिया, मैं बात वही दोहराता हूँ। भारत का रहने वाला हूँ, भारत की बात सुनाता हूँ। है प्रीत जहां की रीत सदा। जीते हो किसी ने देश तो क्या, हमने तो दिलों को जीता है। है नर में, नारी में अभी तक सीता है। इतने पावन हैं लोग जहां, इतने पावन हैं लोग जहां, मैं नित नित शीश झुकाता हूँ। भारत का रहने वाला हूँ, भारत की बात सुनाता हूँ। पत्थर भी पूजे जाते हैं। उस धरती पे मैंने जन्म लिया हो, उस धरती पे मैंने जन्म लिया, ये सोच के मैं इतराता हूँ। भारत का रहने वाला हूँ, भारत की बात सुनाता हूँ। है प्रीत जहाँ की रीत सदा।
That song really is Manoj Kumar. Oh, that's all I can say. I'm emotional to hear this song, and particularly the words of this song is so powerful that only Manoj Kumar can conceive that and indeed picturize it. And the film was Purav Pacham. So that sums up Manoj Kumar, who made lovely films, in fact, all his life. And he was a true son of soil, one could say that. A wonderful actor. Wonderful Haqiqat was another beautiful film and a beautiful song. So today I will look into it, all the songs that has been dedicated to Manoj Kumar, and indeed we will try to give him the best tribute as much as we can. So that is something industry has felt, and industry has actually gave him the Guard of Honors. He was draped in tricolors. His body was draped in tricolors, and he got the salute of 21 gun salute, as his dead body has been, moved to what I call it, the Shamshan place in Mumbai where he was living. So people like Manoj Kumar don't exist anymore because the world has changed, the country has. But is the country has changed? For some people, yes, it has. Is it changed for the worse or for the best, for the better? That's up to you to judge. For a lot of people, it's the country which should be, always should be. That is what it is now. And some other people have corrupted the country. So vis-a-vis Congress and the other governments who ruled the country before. But now the two parties, like in America, Republican and Democrats, BJP and Congress, are the only two parties left to contest the election democratically. And now only one party election is going to be, declared in the future. 2 terms have been passed of the Bharatiya Janata Party. And does the country progress? That's questionable. We had been talking about the progress of Viksit Bharat. Is it Bharat Viksit now? Is it developed country, or is it going downhill? So many things are questionable. And unless you question these things, you cannot actually contribute to the nation. Doesn't matter where you're living, and as diaspora living in this country, we all have passion for our nation. We all are loyal to our motherland, and we all are very, very, very concerned about issues affecting the common man on the ground, particularly in the film industry that I belong to. Yes, I am a film actor. I am a filmmaker. I'm trying to make films, and I did have some role to play in that industry. So from that point of view, I don't want to make a propaganda films, but there are films that I'm going to show this film festival at the 16th Indian Film Festival of Ireland that I created over 16 years ago. Is the opening film is 𝐿𝐸𝐿𝐸. 𝐿𝐸𝐸 is the beautiful film by Avinash Das, starring Javed Jaffrey, Namita Lal, Vivan Shaw, and wonderful artists and whatever. But the score and the songs and the story is something that is making waves in what Bharat should be, what India should be. It's a social integration theme film based on that. Now, social integration and integration among the community is a vital necessity, thing for the country like India, where the atmosphere of hate has been erupted in the last, 8, 9 years and 10 years in the 2 terms of the current BJP government. Why and how? You question yourself. You question that extreme form of religious divide along the line of religion, Hindu and Muslims vis-a-vis, has been playing politically gain for some parties, and they are thriving on that formula, which has been used in the past as well for the vote bank politics, as they call it. But no longer that is the case. They have actually come up with this kind of solution that, look, minority, Muslim 20% minority, 80%, 80% are Hindus, 20% are minority Muslims. They don't matter as long as the 80% population are in support of our government. But on what terms and on what conditions and on what behavior they are thriving, that is questionable. And that is not a democratic way of running the country. But that's something that for you to think about it. Anyway, I'll take another track, and I will try to actually play lots of songs that would give tribute to nobody than Manoj Kumar himself. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this particular track.
लहरा रही है अब शम्मे जिंदगी की उजड़ी हुई मोहब्बत मेहमां है दो घड़ी की उजड़ी हुई मोहब्बत मेहमां है दो घड़ी की मर गए ही अब मिलेंगे जी कर तो मिल न पाए लो आ गई उनकी याद वो नहीं आए लो आ गई उनकी याद वो नहीं आए जब चली ठंडी हवा जब उठी काली घटा मुझको ऐ जाने वफा तुम याद आए जब चली ठंडी हवा जब उठी काली घटा मुझको ऐ जाने वफा तुम याद आए
Gentlemen, that is all I have for this week, and I hope you would have enjoyed the show. You would have paid tribute to our delectable, our very, very well-known, respected superstar of one of the superstars of Indian film industry, Manoj Kumar, and I would leave you this particular song to play with for the next couple of minutes before the time runs out. So once again, I would like to thank anybody and everybody who has tuned me everywhere in the world, including India, Germany, France, whatever. There are a lot of people out listening to me worldwide, Dubai, London, and all that. But there you go. And of course, I would like to thank my contributors, Sharad Awasthi in London, our correspondents, and Charmaine usually contributes to it, but unfortunately not today. Hopefully next week. And of course, how can I forget our technicians are the team with Lee Brennan and all those who made this show possible. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the weekend. I'll see you next week. Bye for now.
जाने वफा